Hi, welcome back, guys, and welcome to the another interesting session in which we will learn about one of AWS interesting service, that is RDS. So in this session, we will learn about RDS, how RDS working in AWS. RDS is an important service for Amazon in which you can use database services. As all we know that database services are very important part uh, of any IT infra. So in this case, we will learn that how AWS or Amazon can help to provide database services. To get about database services, there are we have to go into services, and if you go, you can see here in the databases, RDS, DynamoDB, Elasticsearch, Redshift, and DMS are the important parts of the database services which Amazon is providing. Out of this, today we will learn about RDS, that how to create a RDS instance. And what is RDS? RDS is something relational database system, and if we see in the market, there are the popular there are some popular companies like that MySQL, SQL, Oracle, and some other companies which are providing their database services. MySQL and database services. MySQL, SQL, and Oracle are very popular in the market, and AWS makes you capable that you can create your SQL server by yourself. You don't need to, that it they are helping a lot. You don't need to purchase a hardware. You don't need to purchase a license for SQL Server or Oracle Server or MySQL or the other engines which they are providing. You don't need to purchase the hardware. You don't need hardcore skill set like how to install the servers, how to configure them. What you only need, that suppose if somebody asks that you need a SQL server, what you just need to do, just choose the configuration, choose the database name, choose username and password, and after that you are good to go. You will get an instance, you will get an endpoint which you can give to your database administrator, and they can connect it by using the username and password which you provide. So that is very simple. Let's see how it works in AWS. If you go to services, database services, you have to choose RDS to create a RDS instance. We will see here that once we launch the DB instance, we will also see the other options which are available, so that you can get a good knowledge about that. Once you comes into this window, you can see that there is one option, get started now, and here you first have to launch the instance, then you can check connect, and you can manage and monitor as well. So let's get started now. Here are the options, or which I told you, that whatever the database engine you can use, like Amazon Aurora is the database service which is provided by Amazon itself. This is quite cheap service and almost works like MySQL. Here you can see that up to 5 times the throughput of MySQL, up to the 15 promotable read replica you can create. Once you create a primary instance, you can create a read replica. We will learn about what is exactly read replica and how it used. So if you go further, you can create MySQL instance, you can create MariaDB, you can create Postgres SQL, which is also very popular now, and Oracle and SQL Server itself. So let's start with MySQL instance, and have to choose select option here. So here is the options, like if you want, you can use Amazon Aurora also, which is just an alternative of MySQL, which is provided by Amazon, or you can choose MySQL. There are one more difference I would like to tell you. If you choose production option, then MySQL gives you multi-AZ options, and if you choose develop or test option, it will be a single instance, and the instance will be available only in one single zone. But if you want that your data get replicated across multiple availability zones, and if you also want failover facility, you should use multi AZ zone. In multi AZ zone, suppose if your one AZ goes down, your primary instance will automatically get failover to another instance which is created in another availability zones. Here I can also clarify that the difference between read replica. If you create a read replica is just a replica copy and it always gets syncs with the primary instance. But the difference here is that if your availability zones goes down, single AZ zones goes down, you have to promote your read replica as a primary instance. So there could be some downtime till the time you promote your read replica to a primary instance. But if you are using multi-AZ, then the failover is automatic. You don't need to do anything, and your primary instance will get automatically switched to your different availability zones instance. So I hope that I clarify here what is the difference between multi-AZ and what is the difference between read replica. Let's choose next. Here is the important part where you do all the configuration you need to do. Here I choose DB Engine MySQL. I choose a license model, general public license. If you have your own license, not here because MySQL doesn't provide you that option. MySQL AWS is already itself providing license for MySQL. But if you are having some, or if you are using Oracle application and you want to create Oracle database, you can use your own license. The benefit will be that the pricing will be lesser because you are using your own license. So AWS will be able to provide reducing the license cost if you use your own license, and that feature is called BYOL, bring your own license. So here we have to use general public license. Apart from this, MySQL provides different versions. Whatever the suitable to you, or you according to your compatibility, you can choose. I am choosing here the latest one. Then I have to choose DB instance class. It is another important task. Like it depends like what the server configuration will be in backend. So if your requirement is low and it is just a test server, you can start with t2.micro, which provides 1 CPU and 1 GB RAM, and you can go up to R3. You can go up to medium to R3 large instances, where you can have 32 CPU in one server and 244 GB RAM. So that depend upon your requirement. Whatever you want to choose, you can go with that. Here I am choosing t2.micro instance. Multi-AZ right now I am choosing no, but if you want to take the facility of failover, you should use multi-AZ. Storage type, as you know, that general purpose. If your database is not heavily used and not that much critical that you have to do lot of transactions, you can use general purpose SSD, which is the medium category. If your read write options are higher, you should use provisioned IOPS. Right now we can see that by default in free tier this provide 5 GB 5 GB storage, and if you want more storage you can specify here. Here is the DB instance identifier. In my case it is AWS Learning. I want to create a DB instance as a name of AWS Learning. My username is admin and I am keeping my password simple. Here if you want to create an internal database instance, internal MySQL server, you can choose your own VPC. If you have any VPC in your environment you can choose here, otherwise we can take the by default VPC. Here whatever the availability zone you want to select, if you want to specify any particular zone you should select that. Now here what will be your database name? I am saying it's AWS Learning. My database port is 3306, which is MySQL by default port. Here you can specify the backup windows. By default backup retention period, if you do it takes daily backup, and whatever if you want, if you take a if your backup happens today, this means that it will retain by default for 7 days, and if you want to increase you can go up to 35 days. Your backup database will get automatically retained for 35 days. Here if you want to specify any particular window for backup you can specify that one too. There could be some possibility that there could be some minor version upgrades which came for MySQL. If you want to permit you can choose yes, and AWS will automatically take care of the maintenance part and will do auto minor version upgrade by itself. And for that if you want you can specify a window. If you don't want that your SQL version get upgrade automatically, you can choose all anytime no here. So that is the option as per your requirement. So here we can see that AWS is taking care of backup and monitoring and maintenance as well. Here we just need to choose launch DB instance. Now just review your settings, that are you sure your settings are okay, and if it is fine we are through to launch instance. Once I click launch DB instance, this will take some time to get ready. This will take some time to create the database instance. So right now I am pausing my recording and I will come back to you soon. Thank you. Okay guys, so here we can see that my MySQL instance AWS name AWS Learning is ready and its status is right now available. And as I mentioned that my server should be t2.micro and it should be part of default VPC and it should be single AZ. So all are fine, and I can also see the CPU status. So you can see that how easy to manage your MySQL server now. Similarly, I can set up my SQL server, Oracle server and other supported engines. So here it is very easy to manage, create a server and install the application on it, and I didn't do anything else. and once my server got set up, I can see that this is my endpoint which I have now, and I can connect to this one. So this endpoint is very important, and if you have any database in your company to which you need to provide SQL server or MySQL server, you can just create the server and hand over this endpoint instance with the username and password, and he can simply connect it. And here you can also manage all the other related settings, like I can see my what is my CPU load, memory, storage, and according to this I can change the configuration if I want of my RDS instance. So I would like to tell you something like the other options which are available in this console, which might be useful for you. So here we can see that we can see the monitoring part here very easily, and whatever the instance related actions we need to perform, we can manage it from here. So you can see here that if you want to create a read replica which can be used for load balancing purpose, suppose you have a primary instance like this and you created multiple read replica. So whatever the read operation is getting performed, you can do it via using read replica, and this enables the primary server's load balance reduce effectively. Apart from this, if you want to uh, back up your instance manually, you can anytime set up take a snapshot. Snapshot is used in AWS for backup purpose. Apart from this, there is one awesome feature provided from AWS. You can restore your database instance up to 5 minutes before. What it used that once you backup or once your daily backup comes, my AWS also collect your transaction logs, and on the behalf of this you can restore to point in time, and it provide you the restore be, till last 5 minutes time. So suppose you want to take backup of your server just 10 minutes before, you can do that easily. Apart from this, if you want to modify your instance, suppose you want to change your instance configuration, you can that you can do that also by using such options. So I hope, and whatever the other features you want to change, like if you want to change the backup window, maintenance window, or you want to change the database identifier, whatever the change you want to do, you can do it from here quite easily. Apart from this, if you go to the left side, you can see the other options. Cluster is something which is not provided in MySQL, but it is provided in Amazon Aurora, and you can create multiple servers as a part of cluster, and cluster will also have an endpoint. That endpoint can be given to external parties. Apart from this is the option like reserve purchases. If you want, if you are sure that you have to purchase some, or you have to use some data, so you need to use RDS instance for a longer time, suppose 1 year, you can purchase reserve DB instances, which will be effective in reducing the price. If you purchase reserve instances, you have to pay the upfront fees in advance, and this effectively reduce your pricing. Snapshots, we all know that it is used for backup purpose. So whenever first time you create any database instance, AWS automatically creates one snapshot or one backup copy for you. Out of this, the other important options could be like subnet groups. Parameters and options group you can choose by default, and if you want, if you are having your own VPC, then at that time you need to populate your subnet groups. Here you can give the name, description, and you have to choose your VPC by yourself, and then select your subnets, and then you have to add. After that only you will be able to use subnets once, if you are using your if you are launching your RDS instance in your own VPC. Whatever the events happening with the instance, you have you can see here in events options, like we can see here that once DB instance get created, it got restarted, backup started for this, and database finished. There is no such notification right now for us. Another important part could be that you might would like to see that how we can create our MySQL server, my instance which I created recently. So for that, let's try that. And as I told you that we have to use the endpoint. So in this case, I am copying my SQL AWS instance, and what I am doing now, I need I need one MySQL client through which I can connect. So I believe I can use this. I already have one instance running. So let me go to with EC2 service, and let's see if I have any ready instance available, so that I can show you how to connect the given instance. Good. So I can see here, you can see that I already have one running server right now, one running instance. Cool. So let me try to connect it with Putty. Once I log in here, okay. So I have logged in here, and now I need to install MySQL clients. For that, there are few basic commands which I can use. This is something like to log in. Once I log in this, I can switch with. You can note down these commands. So here my first option to switch as a root user. I can use sudo command apt-get install MySQL server. Here it asks me to install the SQL server, and I continue it. Now I need to give password for my SQL instance. So here it is. I install one MySQL server or MySQL client, and here I can connect my SQL server with the my username was, I think, password admin, then password -h, then the server name. It should be the EC2 instance endpoint which we created. This one. Okay, let's see. So here we are good to go, and you can see that I connected to MySQL. Now after this I can use my basic commands like show databases or use database. Whatever command you want to use, you can go with it, and you are good to use your SQL server. Apart from this, you can see here like how we connected with our MySQL server. And as I told you that if you go to RDS dashboard, you can launch another instances similarly in the same fashion by choosing the correct options. I hope you enjoyed my video and learned things. If you like my video, you can subscribe our channel so that you can see the further videos. If you want to contact me, my email address is awslearnings@gmail.com, and if you like the video, please click on like and keep subscribing us. Thank you.